Let us move on. I'm completely unprepared for this next one, but I think was it Tuesday, Matty? We had the Inoue fight. I'm starting to lose track of all
Yeah,
time.
it was Tuesday morning for me. Would have been probably just a bit after lunch for you guys, I think.
Absolutely. Tuesday morning, yeah, it was around the sort of 12:30 mark. Naoya Inoue, 24-0 with an 8th round knockout over Stephen Fulton, 21-1. Now WBC, WBO bantamweight titles on the line. I mentioned it earlier. Andy, we'll go to you first on this one. I was just so impressed by Inoue. If Bud Crawford hadn't put in a performance like that last night and sort of overshadowed him, but what an absolute week for boxing. And two potentially 50-50 fights. I mean, some people are saying Inoue should have been more heavily favoured, but after the fight, we often look at them and we say, we should have seen that coming. We should have saw whatever happened transpiring. I just didn't see Inoue dominating the fight like he did. His jab was superb. He was so much faster. He was hitting Fulton to the body. He dominated the early rounds. Fulton thought, this guy's so fast, I'm afraid to throw. He stood back against the ropes, just could not do anything with Inoue. He was even showboating and shithousing in the second round. It was just the complete performance for me, right up to the end. Whenever he'd had enough, played with his food, caught him with a cracking shot, and just finished him off.
It was, mate. I mean, you've got two fights this week who basically split opinion, and then both turned out to be absolute dominations. And there was like literally nothing. There was no debate about it. There was nothing shady going on or anything like that. Even though they tried some shady stuff with this fight, and try to cast some doubts, whatever. But it was just emphatic. The speed again. Another one. Yeah, another one is just the jab, head and body, fantastic.
So fast.
It's so quick, mate. I mean, I've seen the right hand there again. The speed off that is just actually incredible. And then he follows it up with a kind of leaping left hook, but he's actually off the ground. Both feet are off the ground as he lands that left hook. If you look at it back, he actually puts Fulton under the ropes. He's actually lying flat. You actually think he's actually Sparkle. You see Inoue up on top of the turnbuckle celebrating, and you actually see then Fulton rolling over. Deciding to get back up, and then he gets stunned again, isn't it? It was just another one who made the unified champ look like he didn't even belong there. And it sounds bad to say it, but it's true. Anybody, Rob watched it, you watched it live, Matty watched it live. We're no lying here. Everybody else who saw what happened can testify to it. It was a complete and utter domination. It was. You hate to say it at that level. It looked so easy. It looks so easy. It's just so quick, so sharp. And it says the ending, it was quick, emphatic, and basically killer instinct in abundance. That's all you can say. And I picked Fulton last week on points. I expected it to be a close competitive fight. It was nothing like that. I expected a close competitive fight between Spence and Crawford. It was nothing like that. Both fights were just dramatic for their own ends. The actual winner of both fights were just completely dominant, and capital letters dominant. It was just emphatic.
Certainly was an emphatic performance. Oh, there's Rob jumping in there. Rob, question for you jumping in actually from Danny Young. Maybe a question for the pod, maybe a question for Rapping Rob Kelly. Which was the better beatdown, Fulton or Spence?
Well, I think the Spence one was more of a beatdown, if you like, because it was such a fucking brutal. His face looked so brutally fucking battered after it, and it was like he was on shaky legs, and he looked like he actually felt sorry for him. Fulton looked scared, man. Like I thought it'd be a close fight. I thought it'd be a bit of a chess match because I seen Fulton show dog before against Figueroa, and I thought he was going to have enough in the exchanges to get him over to the 12th round. I still thought Inoue's class would show, but frightening. Again, boxing IQ thrown around all the time. People just use these fucking phrases. Boxing IQ, but Inoue's boxing IQ. He set him up for the knockout. So not only did he play with him, he was hitting him with spiteful shots. The speed was scary. The technique on the shots, the way he turns his hand over at the last second on the left hook, fucking like textbook. And then his feet, he's like a fencer. His feet are in and out of distance. His feet are the most scary thing to me. He's like a fucking ballet dancer, a ninja. He's in and out of range. He was stabbing him with that body jab, jab to the body all night, stabbing him. And I always go back to Manny talking me through the time Ray Robinson set up Fulmer with the left hook that he clipped him with by hitting him with 3 body shots before that. And it was like that because Fulton went looking for the jab to the body and bang, over the top, similar to the shot Mosley caught Mayweather with, but he didn't manage to grab an arm and lock him up. But Inoue was too strong. He was trying to clinch, trying to hold, try to fight back. Nothing, offered nothing. I thought he was scared from the first. Like, I thought Fulton, and I don't like saying that about fighters, but he was worried. I was not scared is the wrong word, but worried about what was coming back.
Reticent. Yeah.
Because he was hesitant to throw, and even he wasn't committing to his own right hand. It was like he was throwing it out there just for optics rather than actually trying to extend it because he knew the counter was coming. And to have a finish like that at a high level against an elite guy, holds two of the belts. He's come up in weight to fight him again as well, and to knock him out like that with shots like fuck me, the right hand first and then the left hand that followed it, it took both feet off the ground, kind of iconic images. So Inoue is number 2, Bud is 1, and Inoue is number 2 for me, and everyone else is making up the numbers. Like, it's their world and we're just living in it. Like, you can't speak highly enough about the guy. You'd like him to see maybe get a higher profile, but maybe he doesn't want a fucking higher profile. Maybe he's happy doing what he does. Like, but it was definitely a week in boxing. We've had so many kicks in the balls over the last couple of years with these morons holding up the heavyweight division, and all these fights not getting made, and Spence and Bud being guilty of it as well, taking 5 years to drag it out. But fuck me, that week of boxing delivered big time. It was like the World Cup for me this week, watching fucking fights at lunchtime. It was the World Cup of boxing. It was the elite of the elite performances. The 2 best fighters in the world putting exclamation points on victories against top guys. So what more do you want? Like, even fuck it, if the casuals don't pick up on it, they're lost. Like, we can enjoy it. So
yeah.
Who was okay then? So hands on the table. Who had the best performance? Inoue or Crawford?
Crawford for me, because of the dominance and the way he left Spence. There was, like Rob said, there was always a chance that Inoue could maybe do that. I really didn't see the one-sided domination.
Plus, Fulton has only ever knocked out like 4 guys, hasn't he? Like, so
the punch, he's one of the lowest punching world champions. Yeah,
he wasn't coming with that power that Spence and knockout record Spence had. Like,
I can attest to what Rob was saying as well, is that he was scared. He felt something earlier during an early exchange in the very early half of that fight, and did not fancy it, I think, as much, because he had one right hand landing about round 7, and Inoue just clicked straight into action, and he's just again back on the periphery, and it's the speed on that right hand for that knockdown. It's just frightening, mate.
He done what he wanted with him. He's just putting him where he wants as well. That was the fucking most impressive thing. He's just placing him where he wanted. Unbelievable.
Wasn't it interesting how the 2 respective winners over the week approached the first round differently, Andy? Inoue came straight out and put Fulton on the back foot and asserted his dominance, whereas Crawford came out and had a look at Spence and almost gave him a false sense of confidence, the way the 2 of them approached that first round differently.
Well, I'm not surprised at Crawford as such, because that was one of the things when I was sitting watching that first round, because I was kind of loath to give it to Spence, because there was nothing really happened there really kind of deserving of a clear 10-9 round. But I gave it to Spence purely because he was more aggressive. But that's Crawford. He has a look the kind of first couple of rounds, but I was getting kind of concerned as if it dragged on. Yeah. And then obviously after that first knockdown in the second round, mate, I'm kind of like, and obviously when I see the response when Spence got up with his legs, I just knew that it was a totally different fight. And as I said, any time he landed anything solid, it was buzzing. You could visibly marking up and physically moving Spence to his boots. Inoue's was just, he had a guy basically in front of him who was completely mesmerised with him. He had nothing for him. Which is, again, this isn't elite boxing as well, as these 2 guys stepped up and just showed the people there's another level beyond fucking Spence and Stephen Fulton. It just seems to be anyway. We're pound for pound 1 and 2, whatever way you want it. It's just great to watch these 2 guys fighting in the same week.
The only thing that was missing this week was HBO commentary. That gets stuck with these fucking assholes on the fucking Top Rank show. The cheek of Top Rank's international feed having a fucking broadcast on Sky during the day with Christina Poncher and Michaela Mayer. For fuck's sake, who else do we want in there?
Complaining as well that they've got up at
Condoleezza Rice or something. All women are just fucking commentating on this fight. Why?
I saw a picture of Mauro Ranallo in his lavender mist outfit.
No, don't even wear something like that.
They are, Matty, on the screen for you.
Poor bastard.
Who wore it better? I know who wearing it better from where I can see, Bob, anyway.
What's
clearly Mauro, isn't
it? What's Mauro putting in his hair, though, these days?
Mauro looks like, those old HBO documentaries about pimps, and then there's one white guy who talks like he's a black guy from the south, Sonny, Count Chocula or something. That's going to be his pimp name. Shout out Mauro, by the way. That's my guy.
But Mauro, You see, if they're about to play a joke on him, pretend or just go up to him and say, "Listen, fucking Crow Cop's in town, mate. He's looking for you."
my first ever boxing podcast appearance was on Mauro Ranallo's pod because he found the Canelo Alvarez song that I did and then reached out to me and asked me on to come and predict Floyd versus Canelo 10-2. That was the start of it. I should have fucking just gone straight into it. Forget you guys, straight to the top, me and Mauro.
You could have been Abner Mares. What are you thinking, Rob?
Glass eye.
Bernstein taking half an hour to make a point.
Every time, it's funny, right? Because Abner was obviously on the commentary last night. I've been on this fucking pod too long. Every time I hear Abner Mares' name, I think of Andy's voice in my head calling him a woggle-eyed freak or something. Where the fuck a woggle-eyed?
Oh dear me. Anyway, Matty, back to
been pissed off at me.
yeah, some of your classics from the back in the day, Andy. Matty, back to Japan. Inoue against Fulton. Obviously, the sort of the appetizer to what we saw going down last night. I think what the boys were mentioning there about the fear in Fulton and his reluctance to engage. I agree with that. I was saying it on the Nutters call last night. I don't think anybody's heard it, so it's worth repeating tonight. The fact everyone afterwards was saying, "Oh, he dared to be great," mad respect to Fulton. He dared to be great. From the point of view going over to Japan, okay, fair enough. He put his titles on the line in away territory against a really fancied, big punching hometown fighter, or albeit somebody moving up. Okay, from that respect, I understand. But I think the fact of saying Fulton dared to be great when it comes to his ring performance, that's an insincere line for me, and I don't agree with it at all. And I made the point on the call last night with Danny and the boys. I think that sort of takes away from the warriors of the past. And I know that sounds a bit highfalutin and all, but guys like Matthew Saad Muhammad, my favourite fighter of all time, Philadelphian, the same as Fulton. You had to nail that guy to the canvas in a championship fight to get him out of there. He dared to be great every time. What Stephen Fulton done against Inoue, as applauding as we can of him doing what he did, the actual performance, that's not daring to be great for me. That's a disingenuous line.
Yeah, he I don't know if I want to say like he didn't really try or anything like that. But it wasn't what we expected, right? As correct as Rob and I were on the Crawford fight, we were myself at least. I can't remember, Rob, if you said Inoue or not. Actually, I thought, but I was
anyway, points. I thought.
Oh,
Fulton would be able to hang in. I thought he'd be able to hang in. I thought and show a bit of dog and get to the final bell. But yeah, your point.
I thought you picked Fulton for some reason. Yeah, I thought Fulton. Might have been. You never know when people moving up the weights, when they're just going to go a step too far against a guy who's just a bit too big, a bit too skilled. And I thought that Fulton could have definitely been that guy, but it didn't prove the point. Fulton's going to go to 126 after this, I assume. We'll see what he does from there. He's still a skilled fighter, but this is going to take a bit to get his confidence back off of this one, I think. But it was tough for him because he couldn't seem to find the jab at the right distance to keep Inoue off him. He wasn't able to do any of that inside body work like he was able to do against Leo and Figueroa. So he was left with, the mid-range, and that was where Inoue wanted him. The fight was consistently fought at the distance that Inoue wanted, and he was landing spectacular punches. I think Fulton might have been able to make it out of that round if he had just gone down off of that first right hand and not absorbed that other left trying to stay up. That was a little bit of a mistake on his part. But going the distance or going a few more rounds, I don't know how much that would have mattered to him at the end of the day, because he probably wanted to, go over there to get a win. But Inoue is a very special fighter. And and although I say that Crawford's the best fighter of his generation, in meaning, and I mean it very honestly, I think Inoue's right up there. And I think much in the way, and their paths will never cross. Look at the weights. Obviously, it's not going to happen like it did with Floyd and Manny, but it's kind of amazing, much like it was with Floyd and Manny, to be watching these two, they'll end up probably top 50 or better, greatest fighters of all time in the consideration of, those boxing minds who discuss such things. And to be witnessing them simultaneously is just amazing. These are two incredible undefeated fighters, and we're still wondering if they keep going where their ceiling might be, what weight class, what opponent. I do expect Inoue to polish, not without any worry whatsoever. Tapales. Good enough fighter. Surprised Akhmadaliev, but I don't think he has the tools to really trouble Inoue all that much. So maybe he might be 2 fights and done at 122 and go test the waters at 126. If Figueroa is able to get through Ray Vargas, I'd love to see a beefier, more weight healthy Brandon Figueroa fight Inoue at that weight. I think that could at the very least be a good weight. He could take a hell of a punch, and he'll work on trying to close that distance. So I think that could be an interesting fight at featherweight. But man, that would be incredible to win titles from 108 up to 126. That is a special guy. And I woke up 6 a.m. to see him, thinking he might lose, but just witnessing greatness again, and proud to get those couple hours early just to see him. Just what a tremendous fighter he is.
I've seen some quotes about him moving up. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, because it was reported as saying that he wants to fight 3 fights. One was against Casemiro. I'm sure the other one was against Tapales, then the other unification, and I think the other name was possibly Luis Neri.
Definitely be Tapales next, wouldn't it? He got in the ring. He's got the 2 belts. You're undisputed by the end of the year, and then he'd be the second after Crawford, wouldn't he? All undisputed. Another one about the GOAT and all that, but nobody really takes that seriously.
I don't know if there'll be any mandatories.
Fuck you.
I think Inoue was potentially classed as Fulton's mandatory. I'm not too sure about that. So I don't know if Neri will get again. If there's any mandatories
was that the WBO thing where you move up as a champion and you become
I mean, if he cleans up all the belts, then all roads lead to him, so he could just knock them off as mandatories, no problem. Neri's got to be top 5 with a sanctioning body, and then Casemiro probably as well. So there shouldn't be an issue to make. Especially with Casemiro, that's same part of the world right there. That should be a very simple fight.
Yeah, be Tapales next, I would imagine, under.
Beating the shit out of these Filipinos. Are we sure he's not Spanish?
Oh, well, you never know. It might be. Rob, I know you were going to jump in there. A strange fight that seems to be getting a lot of traction. A lot of people are seriously talking about Inoue moving up to fight Gervonta Davis for some reason.
Yeah, well, we know who the fuck that is. Like, that's all the people that lost their ass betting on Fulton and was telling you all this Outman and all those characters like fucking Lefty, OG. And
where's he at?
all these fucking morons that don't watch boxing for the right reasons, like they just fucking don't know shit about the sport.
And that Steve Jackson character.
It's like fucking Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57, isn't it? Always bet on black. That's the boys. Like, so fucking. Like, I hate that shit. I hate that from both ways. Like, there's guys that do it the other way around too. They always back the white fighter. There's guys that only back the Mexican fighter. There's guys that only back the black fighter. But the boys online, like, are particularly fucking vocal on Twitter, like, and they're married to their opinion as well. Nobody can tell them.
So strange, man. I don't understand that.
It's a weird. Like, that's why I don't really be on boxing Twitter talking too much about. I only talk boxing here with Jews. I can't be bothered like getting into that shit. But just to get back to the Dare to Be Great thing, I think that's kind of. That another catchphrase that just gets fucking thrown around in sport. You dare to be great when you get beat. Like, cool, like dare to be great is good, but now that catchphrase has come about because we get so many fighters who don't dare to be anything. They just want to take the money. Just like, cool.
2 fights a year,
give me the money, man. I don't give a fuck about fighting the world champion. So
he dared
that's
to
kind
fight.
of where it came from. Yeah, dare to fight. Like, so he was there to fight. He didn't dare to be great, but he was there to fight. I don't think there's much he could have done, to be honest with you. I think he was in survival mode. He's just fighting a fucking guy who's levels above him. But the Dare to Be Great thing is a load of fucking shite, and it's only kind of coming. It's only coming kind of full circle in boxing now because people are actually surprised when champions fight each other. Normally they'll fight the fucking guy in the top 15. Go, look, I'm trying to make this fight. I'm sending fellas contracts, but I just can't do it. Give me this number 15 from fucking Lithuania and see what I can do with him. That way. So fucking, I just think fucking.
Oleg, knockout.
Fulton's face for the whole fight looked like Curtis Stevens when he got hit by Golovkin for the whole fight, didn't it? It's like, what the fuck is this, man? Get me on the Tokyo Express out of here. Like,
just needed a Photoshop gravestone behind him and all, and it would have been complete.
The fact there are people saying some people saying the stoppage was early, and that, oh my god. Fucking mad, dude.
There was people.
He slumped over like fucking Amir Khan when he got hit by Danny Garcia at the fucking very last punch. He just went ding ding ding. It was fucking stoppages early. Yeah, fucking break. You want to do kill him? Fuck off.
They're bloodthirsty, Rob.
They want a definitive conclusion, doesn't he? It's like Steve Smoger, are you dead,
Steve
mate?
Smoger. Or Derek James, the ghost of Steve Smoger, flip me. Definitive conclusion.
And that was, I mean, good performances by the referees recently too. They did not fuck up these fights.
Yeah.
Nothing went to the judges, so we can't, didn't even go that direction. So, yeah, I mean, but the referee's been keeping everything in check. Who was the ref in the Inoue fight? Do you remember?
Hector
Steve?
Afu.
Hector Afu. I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen him in some other fights. Seemed to do a good job there.
Yeah, he's done a few. He does a few out there when in those Dubai, Saudi Arabian cards. They bring him over. He did the Tommy Fury card, Jake Paul fight.
He wasn't reffing much during COVID because every time they announced his name, people start ducking. He's like,
Your name spreads particles.
Andy, the only thing worth mentioning just about on the undercard was Robezi Ramirez. At least he got rid of that big stiff idiot. I feel bad because he seemed like a nice fella. Satoshi, old Mr. Bitcoin, came out. He had a go, but he should not have been anywhere near a world title. That was like the WBO world title defenses of 20 years ago, wasn't it? Him being
to be honest, mate, he didn't really transition there properly as a
terrible.
pro. He was awful, mate. And I think he possibly even got stopped off someone early in the half of his career. To be fair, writing was on the wall for him. That classic amateur fighter just hasn't transitioned across. And you see the difference in class levels, mate. Absolutely destroyed, pulled out in the end. Thank God that they haven't kind of put up with that shit for much longer. But Ramirez, again, another one actually got a belt. Another one who's maybe chapping a bit now to try and get some unification fights. That Luis Lopez fight would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? You know, banging against a counter puncher. I think I don't know what the situation is with his
talking about
promotion.
Lopez fighting Navarrete, I think, aren't they?
Are they? And you've got Lee Wood.
No, is it Navarrete?
Lopez is fighting Joet Gonzalez at the end.
Yes, he's fighting. Yeah, they were talking about him fighting somebody else after gone. Right. It might have been Ramirez. Sorry, Andy, I might have thrown you off track. It might have been Ramirez.
I think you're very correct. I think you're correct on that, Steve.
Yeah, and also Lee Wood's been given permission to have a voluntary defence over his mandatory, so he's getting to fight Josh Warrington now. So.
Of course, yeah. Who didn't fucking predict that one?
Yep.
Jesus.
So that because at Kolomatov, so he's that's the second time he's been bypassed now for that fight. So and you also. Is it Ray Vargas? Has he now got a belt back up at the BBC? Has he?
No, he lost to Oshaki Foster. He's fighting somebody in the chat they were mentioning earlier.
That was at 130 against Oshaki Foster.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with all this, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, if you're saying Joey Gonzalez is going to be fighting stable at top rank and that, I can understand it, but unless Inoue moves up, there's not really a big name for Ramirez at this point. So you'll have to kind of pick his bones there, that one pretty well, because I don't think he wants to be moving up to 130 just now. He needs to still build himself a little bit.
Yeah,
that
unifications, absolutely, yeah.
What about Nick Ball? How do you think Nick Ball would fare against against Ramirez?
Well, it'd be interesting. He'd bring the heat and they'd throw a few bombs at each other, wouldn't they? And Ball would probably be going the WBO route, being with Frank Warren, so that's not outside the realms of possibility.
Is Ball featherweight or is he super featherweight? I can't remember.
Feather.
Is he? He's a fucking bulky
You
guy.
like him, don't you, Matty?
Yeah, he beat the crap out of Isaac Lowe, man. How could you not? I mean, he's a burly little motherfucker. I mean, he's built like a brick shithouse.